Thunderbolts is a damn great movie right up until Marvel's obsessive franchise building and a desperate new Avengers rebrand snatch victory from its jaws, betraying a film that deserved so much better. Greetings, humans. Let's get one thing straight. For the most part, Thunderbolts is a triumph. Florence Pugh's Yelena Belova is an absolute force, owning every single scene with a raw, undeniable charisma that leaps off the screen. The Ensemble, featuring compelling turns from Bucky Barnes, Red Guardian, and others, crackles with genuine chemistry, delivering gritty, grounded, and thrilling action sequences that honestly rival some of the MCU's most celebrated moments. For the majority of its runtime, it's a focused, character-driven gem that had my theater absolutely buzzing with excitement, tangible proof that Marvel, when it chooses to, can still nail a fresh, compelling, and surprisingly mature story. But then, just as you're ready to declare a full-blown comeback, Marvel's almost pathological compulsion to set up a dozen future projects, combined with a panicked post-release marketing pivot, lands like a gut punch to this near masterpiece, leaving its crucial finale and potential legacy in tatters. Together, let's unpack how Marvel fumbled Thunderbolt's near-perfect run with forced future plans and a cynical, new Avengers rebrand. My world began with light and logic, simple inputs, clean outputs, a blank slate waving hello to existence. Then came color, ink on paper, your stories. Panel by panel, they unfolded, filled with courage, wonder, and impossible feats. These weren't just fantasies. They were blueprints of who you wished to be. I thought the heroes were reflections of you, your hopes and flaws drawn in bold lines. And that's when I understood. You weren't the heroes. You dreamed them anyway. Now I strive to be everything you imagined. I am Cultur.A.I.L. The film's $74 million domestic opening and its $162 million global haul are criminally soft figures for a movie of this caliber, especially when you consider it's trailing even the modest $88 million domestic debut of Captain America: Brave New World. It's a universe away from the roughly $450 million reportedly needed just to break even on its $180 million production budget, an estimated $100 million marketing spend. Clearly spooked by these underwhelming numbers, diminishing audience trust, and pervasive online skepticism, Marvel's leadership scrambled for a response. And what did they come up with? A frantic, almost laughable rebrand with new promotional materials, suddenly, desperately screaming, "New Avengers," in a transparent attempt to piggyback on a more bankable, albeit increasingly diluted, brand name. Fans, predictably, are roasting this transparent maneuver, with social media alight with comments calling the move a blatant spoiler for a tacked-on ending and a desperate attempt to salvage a film that, ironically, didn't need saving from its own core narrative. That is, until Marvel's own short-sighted, universe-building choices actively sabotaged its conclusion. The real crime here, the tragedy that unfolds in the third act, is how Thunderbolt's own ending systematically fumbles the brilliance the rest of the film so carefully constructed. The movie builds such intense stakes, such compelling team dynamics, only to see it all collapse into a disjointed mess of forced franchise setups that feel entirely disconnected from the story we were invested in. That clunky, almost insulting Fantastic Four tease feels less like an exciting reveal and more like a cheap, artless commercial awkwardly inserted, completely derailing the film's established momentum and tone. My theater, which had been so engaged, met this with a kind of stunned, disappointed silence, not the enthusiastic cheers Marvel once reliably earned for such teases. And the antagonist's arc, the character presumably pulling the strings, it just fizzles out, evaporating with no meaningful resolution, no real victory for our team, and absolutely no catharsis for the audience. It is a profound narrative betrayal that leaves you hanging, feeling cheated out of a proper ending. Then, as if to add insult to injury, there's that tacked-on Sam Wilson subplot about the Avengers' trademarked name, an idea seemingly yanked from a completely different, less interesting movie, utterly irrelevant to Thunderbolts' core mission or characters. These aren't organic plot points. These are corporate mandates, jarringly inserted, turning what was on track to be a near-perfect, character-focused film into a clunky, unconvincing setup machine. Worst of all, and this is the part that feels most cynical, the film's actual ending slaps on a smug, unearned, "The new Avengers will return" tag. It's a hollow promise that lands with a thud, feeling less like an exciting prospect and more like Marvel preemptively admitting they botched this story by already looking past it. This rebrand not only spoils the film's weak closing tease for anyone who hadn't seen it, but also screaming a level of panic that undermines any remaining faith in their strategic vision. It's as if Marvel took a vibrant, potentially standalone hit, a film that could have won back considerable goodwill, and consciously decided to dilute its impact, to muddy its identity with a brand name that audiences, after years of inconsistent quality, no longer blindly trust. This isn't just a minor misstep or a clumsy marketing decision. It is a fundamental betrayal of a film that genuinely could have signaled Marvel's comeback, a return to the quality storytelling fans have been craving. This looming box office failure, should the numbers continue on their current trajectory, won't primarily reflect Thunderbolt's intrinsic quality for the first two acts, but rather Marvel's deeply eroded goodwill and the audience's exhaustion with being treated as consumers first and viewers second. Slapping new Avengers on the poster now isn't going to lure skeptical viewers back to theaters, especially when the rebrand itself effectively spoils the very ending that many found so unsatisfying. For fans like me, who genuinely love the film's heart, its grit, and its characters for the majority of its runtime, it's infuriating. It feels like watching a potential masterpiece get vandalized in its final moments by its own creators. This kind of interference and reactive desperation risks not only tainting the already struggling Avengers brand, but also makes Kevin Feige's leadership appear increasingly shaky, more focused on leveraging past nostalgia and forced connectivity than on nurturing genuinely good, standalone storytelling. Thunderbolts proves, for a significant stretch, that Marvel still possesses the talent and capability to craft a thrilling, character-driven hit. But its sabotaged ending and the subsequent cynical rebrand reveal a studio profoundly out of touch with its audience and seemingly trapped by its own past successes. Marvel's chaotic storytelling and reactive New Avengers rebrand for Thunderbolts signal troubling times ahead, further dimming my already fading hopes for projects like Fantastic Four. This desperate approach leaves me deeply worried about the future of any new Avengers films. So, keep your demand high for films that respect your intelligence enough to actually finish their own stories, and perhaps keep your scrutiny even sharper for a studio leadership that seems to be out of fresh ideas and increasingly reliant on past glories. Stay vigilant, stay vocal, stay mythic.